Welcome back into Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and S&S Discount Tire. Not going to take your phone calls on this segment, so hold them over to the upcoming segment. Got our good friend from the Knight Eady Group, Chris Nix, on the phone with us. Chris, thanks for taking a little time to be up here with us.
Randy, thanks for having me on. Saw you 2 weeks ago at the Super 7, you and your group, and y'all did a great job there. But I'm going to be honest, I'm glad to be talking basketball tonight.
I bet you are. I know basketball is your love, but I've got to jump back to football real quick because I thought you and your group there with the Knight Eady in your first year to take on the marketing role for the HSA there at the Super 7 Championships. I thought y'all did an outstanding job. We had a lot of great comments about the event. Just like to hear some thoughts from you on the first event.
Well, we appreciate you saying that, Randy. The event, I've said it privately and publicly, the event we took on or inherited a really good event already. They've been doing it for many years, and once Auburn and Tuscaloosa picked it up, it really is a event that speaks for itself. All the parts were in place, and we were hired to just maybe take it to the next level. We tried to bring some collegiate experience to the event and just add a little bit of flair to the experience for the kids and the fans and the coaches, and we felt like we did that, and also to the sponsors. The sponsors are what make it make it happen, and we try to give them a little bit more exposure and a little bit better experience. But all in all, it's a great event that we were lucky enough to get involved with Coach Savarese and all the staff at the HSA, and we felt like it was a good week.
Chris, we get asked this question a lot. We don't really have the answer for it, so I'll ask you. The university and the cities of, I'm going to say Auburn and Opelika here because you haven't been able to go over and work in the Tuscaloosa market yet, but just give everybody an understanding of how much they enjoy and embrace this event, not only the administration and the coaching staffs there at Auburn, but the cities of Auburn and Opelika as well.
Yeah, you said it. I mean, it really is impressive. We started meeting with them probably in July, as soon as we got the contract about Super 7, and we all know that there's 24 championship events. Super 7 and state finals are kind of the two flagship events of the HSA, and the folks of the Auburn-Opelika Tourism. So the way it breaks down, Auburn-Opelika Tourism Commission, John Wild and Robin Bridges and their staff, they take on kind of the tourism role, do all the team hosting and everything involved with the city. And then you have Ron Anders and D. Mark Mitchell who kind of represent, they're the liaisons with Auburn University. And the university athletic department, the university president, everybody's on board. Jeff Steele and Jay Jacobs and all the staff at Auburn, they welcome us in, basically turn over the whole venue to us, along with the help of Ron and then John and the tourism group. So it's a collaborative effort. Everybody asks me on a few platforms down there, well, how do you guys and a staff of 6 or 8 do this? And I said, well, it's not even close to that. It's a group of about 15 in Auburn that are helping day to day, and then about 300 volunteers. So there was probably 400 people behind the scenes running the event that we could not have done it without.
Real quick before we move over, and I want to talk about the Steel City Invitational, but quickly I want to talk about the finals. It's been the Final 48 for a long time. You've been with us, Chris, for, I don't know, since we've been started up there with the Birmingham Tip-Off Club and all that you do at the BJCC with what was the Final 48 basketball championships there. Just quickly give everybody in our listening audience what it will be changing to now that we've gone to 7 classifications.
Well, that's a good question. We had a lot of questions this summer. What are we going to call it? Is it, Final 56? The Super 6 went to Super 7 pretty quickly. That made sense. But then we were charged with the rebrand of the association in July, along with, renaming the 2 big events that we're in charge of managing. So it used to be called State Finals when Edgar Weldon and John Clements and Dan Washburn put this together in 1994 at the Civic Center. It was just state finals, and that made the most sense. It's really the state basketball tournament, and then it culminates with the state finals. So we couldn't come up with a really unique or creative name, so we just went back to something simple, state basketball finals, shortened by calling it the state finals. We kind of wanted to get away from the whole Final Four. You can't use Final Four. It's patented by the NCAA. So we didn't feel like Final 56 made much sense because they have 56 teams now with 7 classifications. So we just went with something simple. We'll call it the state finals, and a lot of the terminology on paper will be the state basketball finals.
Well, we're looking forward to that, and we'll be over at the end of February to help with the HSA radio network there. But that's only part. I know it gets a lot of the publicity with the Knight Eady Group, with you being the marketing arm of the HSA. But one event that you started last year and was a huge success. Let me tell you, I heard from a lot of people that enjoyed going to it. I think the numbers were high as well. You got some outstanding teams in there. It's the Steel City Invitational, which will tip off this weekend, Chris.
Yeah, it starts Friday afternoon at 2:30. The 19th and 20th, Friday and Saturday, and then we end on Monday. We skip Sunday and go into Monday with the championship day. So we have 16 teams that we feel are 16 of the best, probably 24 teams in the state. This started with a relationship with the Birmingham Tip-Off Club and Mountain Brook High School. I guess a year and a half ago, we started talking about how could we make Mountain Brook's already good tournament better. And I talked with you guys probably a year, 14 months ago about the event on this same show. And we had a good field in year one. Well, in January and February of this past year, we went out to get the top 16 teams across any classes. So we were able to land what we feel is, like I said, 16 of probably the top 24 teams. We got a presenting sponsor. We partnered with Andrews Sports Medicine, St. Vincent's Health Systems, and Champion Sports Medicine. The three of them collectively have become our presenting sponsor, and that right there speaks for itself. We all know how good of a job those guys do and how prominent in not only in Birmingham but across the state and the Southeast. So they brought an element of credibility to us, and they're going to offer something. The Champion folks will be there offering their services, and we really elevated it because of the field. We've tried to make what we think is a premier high school event across the state of Alabama and one of the top in the Southeast, with just the competition. Everybody plays 3 games. Some will play 4 that make it into the championship round. And no matter what, we had teams that made it to Birmingham last year that went 0-3 or 1-2 in the tournament. So we feel like it's just the premier event, the premier holiday event in the state right now at the high school basketball level.
Hey, Chris, a quick question that I've got. Just give everybody an idea of how big events like this. I know that we're just getting started there in the Birmingham area. I'm sure there's been some pretty substantial tournaments here in the state of Alabama in years past, but these events around the country are huge money makers. They're big economic boost to the communities that hold them, aren't they correct?
They are, and the national high school basketball scene it's ridiculous how big it is. We're trying to do that in Birmingham. We're doing another one in Nashville after Christmas that is a little more of a national level tournament. It has teams from 7 states representing, and there's only 8 teams. So took a different approach there. But for Steel City, we just want it to be the premier event in Alabama. We want every team wanting to be in it. Our criteria, people ask, what's the criteria? Well, the only way to get in next year's Steel City is really to win this year's Steel City. Now, Mountain Brook started the tournament, and they're our hosts, so, Mountain Brook will be in it. But Parker is in it this year, but they won last year, and that was the only guarantee that got them in this year. We started in February looking at who are going to be the best teams. And so across the country, people are doing this, and they're getting, huge publicity. The big level sponsors, the Nikes of the world, they won't even look at a tournament unless it's got players and national prestige. And we're trying to do that for Steel City, but really it's about the game of basketball. There's never been anything in Birmingham like this. There used to be the Jefferson County, Birmingham City shootout back in the 80s and early 90s, but as far as getting 16 teams from the state across all classes, to our knowledge, has never been done outside of the state basketball tournament. So with Steel City, that's our goal. We want to elevate the exposure of the game of basketball in Birmingham and across Alabama.
Chris, I'm not throwing you out there and having you to pick a team that you expect to win, but I do have a question. Birmingham area is a hotbed for basketball talent here in this state, and you part of the Birmingham Tip-Off Club. Give those of us that haven't been able to see, who are some of the hotter teams here in the state this year?
Yeah, we have the rankings came out last week, the Sports Writers Association rankings. They give it about a month before they release their first rankings, and we have 11 of our 16 teams are ranked. Mountain Brook is number 1 in 7A, Midfield is number 1 in 3A, and then I mentioned kind of the defending. We have 3 defending state champions from last year in 3 different classes, and Parker is one of those. We have 2 runners-up from last year in J.O. Johnson and Ramsey. So to name a favorite, there's 9 teams from the metro area in Birmingham and 7 from across the state. 2 from Mobile that are 2 of the top teams down there, 2 from Huntsville, 1 from Tuscaloosa, and then we're, a few scattered across the state. Bibb County is another one, and I'm going to miss somebody without trying to. Coleman is another one I'm looking at the list. So we've got a good mix of teams from Birmingham and across the state. A lot of good players. You may be asking me that next, but there's a couple of players that are very highly recruited. Dazon Ingram is probably the top senior in the state. He's signed with Alabama. Really athletic point guard. He'll be playing Friday night in the Hannah Center. John Petty is one of the top sophomores in the country from J.O. Johnson. We met a kid, Hassan Abdullah. I want to mention him from Clay Chalkville. He's a senior point guard, and he's committed to the Naval Academy. And he was our tip-off club player of the week. Really impressive kid, as you can imagine, going to Navy on a basketball scholarship. But impressive kid all the way around. So there's a lot of storylines in the event. But going back to your question of who's the favorite, Ramsey's probably been playing the best. That's the word on the streets. Mountain Brook, of course, has won. I think they've lost once. But Bessemer City and J.O. Johnson, they're a first-round matchup. A couple of the first-round matchups, whoever wins those go all the way. So we feel like it's an even field, and we're looking forward to starting it on Friday.
Chris, as we close out, y'all do a great job with media outlets out there. Just give everybody an idea. I saw the website that Justin was scrolling through. Give everybody an idea of where they can go and read up on it through the website, the venues that it will be played, and how you can purchase tickets.
Okay, it's Friday starts the afternoon, and then all day Saturday, and then most of the day or all day Monday. So the best place to look is steelcityhoops.com. That's steelcityhoops.com. On there, there's information about the bracket, the venues. Stanford University is a beautiful facility for those that have never been there. We use 2 venues. We use the Hannah Center, which is first class, and then we use their older gym, which is Seibert, and they're right within walking distance. So the games overlap by 30 minutes. It's great for fans. You can see a game one place and walk over and see the game right after that in the other arena. So steelcityhoops.com. We're on Twitter at Steel City Hoops. Facebook, it's on there as Steel City Invitational. We will be live tweeting from both gyms throughout the event. That's kind of our avenue for information, for scores, for stats, and all information related to it is Twitter during the event. And then preptix.com is where you can get ticket books right now. Tickets are $25 online. That's a 3-day book. They're $10 at the door, and then there's a youth price for 18 and under. So our website pretty much tells everything, and then we're active on Twitter and Facebook.
Chris, thanks so much. Look forward to talking to you in the next couple of weeks, and good luck to y'all this weekend.
Thanks for what you guys do, and we are enjoying working with you.